Back in the winter, spring of 2003, 2004, I redid the entire electrical system on Sail V. And what I did was state of the art for that time. But now, being 2023, 20 years later, things with electrical and electronics have changed with lithium batteries and smartphones and better alternator regulators and better alternators. So I decided it was time to do something again. These first pictures you're looking at is what I did in 2003. I had a great friend, Mike Jefferson, help me design the system. I had another great friend, what's your name? John Grattan, helped me install it a little bit. And so that was cool. And the system really served me well for 20 years. But now it's time to upgrade again. So now we're going to move into the modern stuff. These pictures now are just kind of what I took of the old system because I wasn't sure what was staying and what was going. I really couldn't figure it all out. I just had to dive into it. So here we go. New stuff from here on. Working on the electrical system upgrade. Right now I'm working on figuring out how to install the new alternator. There's the old one. It's 124 amp power. It's pretty old. And this is 170 amp polymer. And I'm switching to a serpentine belt from the old V-belt. Because 170 amps is too much for the old V-belt. So this is the new belt. And that's that pulley. This pulley here goes over the crankshaft pulley, fits right over that, bolts on. But I don't have enough space here to get it in or to work, to get a torque wrench in there and bolt it on. Also, I think this is going to be in the way. So I put this on here, so it looks like I might have to modify that. But I think what I'm going to do with this bulkhead is, I built this whole settee, and this just floats off of this board here. Part goes all the way to the hauler. So I'm just going to cut it all the way down and put a piano hinge here or something in the end. But I'm just going to cut it so that I can remove it out of the way and then put it back later. And that will make a lot of things that I do on this engine a lot easier. Because right now, as you can see, it's really tight. All right, later. Okay, it's now 5:30. We'll pause time. Started working at 5:30 this morning. I did take a 2-hour siesta. Fell asleep in the cockpit. But I cut that bulkhead out of the way. And I've mechanically got the new pulleys, belt, and alternator mounted. Took some doing. Even when I removed this bulkhead that was here, this fiberglass is in the way here, which I did years ago. So it's really thick, so I just sawed, ground, chopped. I couldn't get a grinder in there. So I sawed with a Sawzall, and chiseled with a screwdriver, and got it good enough. And then it was kind of a chore trying to get these pulleys to line up, but they're pretty damn close. Now, they're not perfect, but I think it's going to be the way it is, because I can't move this one back any further, and I could move this one further forward, but I can't move this forward at all. It's as forward as it can go because of the mount back here. I would have to grind away this, and I'm not going to do that. I did put a bigger bolt through here. The one I had holding the alternator was, I don't know where that thing came from, but it was too small in diameter, and I didn't like that, so I bought a bigger one. It was a little too big, so I had to drill out this whole thing, just a hair, but I'm much happier with that. And so I think it's a beautiful day here in La Paz. I think it was 84 today in the shade. Actually, I have it says it's 85 right now. Anyway, it's cooling down. It's 5:30, 5:37. I think tomorrow I try to start in on the electrical portion of this, which I bought a external regulator for this thing, which you program it by waving a magnetic screwdriver in front of it, kind of like magic. I'm gonna have to do that at the house because I'm gonna be watching on the internet when I do it, and I don't have internet here. But you gotta figure it out and where it's gonna go, and you know that underneath those tools is a big 8D battery and then a separate starting battery, and the 8D is going away. So I don't know if that's gonna happen tomorrow. It's kind of tricky. I'm living here on the boat right now, so if I take away the batteries in the electrical system, I won't have any lights or electrical, and until I get the new stuff in. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. I can do a service change in a house or a building in one day, but I can't do it on this boat in one day. Nope. So there's your update. Later. Okay, back at the boat, starting to work. Just thought I'd show you this while it's open. This is my, let me back up here. That's my starboard settee. It used to be, really low, down about there. But when I had to rebuild this U-shaped settee and make it 3 inches higher for that engine, because it used to have an atomic 4, actually that wasn't at that time. I had to replace this bulkhead and that bulkhead. Also, these are the chain plates that hold up the mast, and they were totally rotten, the bulkheads. So anyway, well, I had to take all this settee out, the original one, to replace that bulkhead. So when I did that, I thought I would make it higher, make a pilot berth out of it, and get twice as much storage, a little bit more than twice as much. And the original Erickson 35 had a aluminum water tank up in the V-berth, which is a good recipe for hobby horsing. So I put this, I believe this is a 40 gallon, maybe a 50, but I don't get 50 into it. A bladder, carpeted the hull, carpeted where it sits, and then some boards. Those boards go on top of it, and I have a whole nother layer of storage. Over here, I just filled that water tank. I'm filling this tank now, that's what I'm showing you. Over here, I have the same thing, smaller, but I forgot to show you. So I gotta tend to this tank here. See you, bye. Okay, before I almost forgot again. This is where that water tank was I was filling. This is how it is with stuff in it. This is an 8D battery that's coming out, going away. I'm disconnecting it now. And I got to disconnect the other end, which is that wire right there. And the negative is this one on the bottom of the stack. So I think I can just leave it. I don't know if these existing cables are going to work with the new batteries, but so that is another 8D, and that's coming out. The little blue top there is a Optima. It's my starting battery. That's staying, but it might relocate. And these two batteries are the new ones, Victron lithiums. And when I get them out, I'll stick them side by side. I'll stick both of these next to this battery here, which hopefully is coming out now. And these two batteries have more usable power than those two batteries. And they're like less than half the size. That's where we're at. That Lifeline 8D is heavier than it used to be. I could barely lift it out of there. I mean, it's always been hard, but now that I'm in my 60s, it was nearly not doable. But I did it. So there you have it. Remember, there's the black one is the 8D. It's an AGM absorbed glass mat. There's another one over there that's coming out. These two blue ones are the Victron lithium iron phosphate batteries. The big one has a amp hour capacity 255 amps, and I got two of those, so 510 amp hours. But they're lead acid technology, which means you can only, for the safety of the battery, for the life of the battery, you can only draw them down 50%. So that means they really only have 255 amps between the two of them, usable. And I never even drew them down that much. So it's really hard. The further you draw them down on a regular basis, the longer use life they have. The blue ones, lithiums, you can draw them down pretty damn far. I'm not sure. It's the same thing applies. The further you draw them down every cycle, the shorter the lifespan. Like if you draw these, it says in the literature, if you draw these lithiums down 20% and then recharge them, they have 5,000 cycles in them. But if you draw them down 80%, they have like, I forget, but not less than half that many cycles. So you don't want to draw in your batteries too far down. But the lithiums have 200 amp hours each. So that's 400 amp hours right there in that little blue space. 255 in the black space. You can only use 125 in the black, and you can use, I'd say, 150 in the blue. The weight, the weight thing, I used to race a lot. This ain't a light boat. It was when it was designed, but it's not these days. The boat's 50-something years old. The 8Ds are 166 pounds each. That's 332 pounds of 8D battery on board. The Victrons are 44 pounds each. That's 88 pounds for the two of them. So that's for the black batteries, the AGMs, the Lifelines, 731 kilograms total. Or for the blue ones, 194 kilograms total. So that's a savings of 244 pounds. That's the equivalent of a big, burly, big crew member. So, right there, that improves my water line right there. And displacement. It's a displacement boat. For every length the boat travels forward in the water, it has to push its own weight of water out of the way. That's a displacement hull. That's how they work. It takes a lot of energy. This boat stock weighed 11,400 pounds out of the factory. it didn't come with big batteries. It came with a little starting battery for a little gas engine. So it's heavier now than it was, and it also has more tankage, more fuel, heavier engine, everything. So it's heavier than it was. And so these boats, displacement boats, have to move their own weight of water out of the way for every, in this case, 25 feet is my water line. So I got to move 11,000, well, close to 12,000 pounds every 25 feet I move forward. And it takes a lot of energy to do that. So the lighter the boat, the better. There's your physics class for the day. And I just made that all up because I am a high school dropout. So take it for what it's worth. You can correct me if you like, but it's pretty accurate. All right. Both 8D batteries are off the boat and in the truck. Physically hardest part of this job is done. The two lithiums fit nicely in that compartment with room left over. I was gonna put the battery management system in there, and I could, but sometimes you might want to get to this thing. So I'm thinking if I got the right cables to do it, I might put it over here with the rest of the electronics are going to go in there. And I've already got a little heat and sound shield between the two, plus some plywood, and I could put some more. Oh, this is it's plywood. I could put a piece of foam cord fiberglass in there that would also help with the heat from the engine. Anyway, that's all I got done today. And I got no power on the boat now, so I'm going home. So I probably won't get here very early in the morning, which is just the way it is. That's the way it is. Catch ya mañana. I got the Victron Lynx Smart BMS 500 installed temporarily. Well, it's installed, but I gotta get these wires that they communicate. That battery management system communicates with the batteries, but I gotta run these wires underneath the cockpit, the cabin sole here, and to do that, I gotta get underneath this water tank, and it's full of water. So I temporarily hooked up the one battery, and I'm draining the water tank because I have an electric water pump, and there's seems like the best way to empty the water tank. So the BMS is it's working, and I took a screenshot. That water pump is drawing 2.5 amps. The batteries are fully charged. I can go for 3 days and something hours running this pump if my battery's dead. And that's just one battery. So man, nothing's easy. Later. Okay, seems like that project is a success. New alternator, electrical system, check. On to the next.